thoughts and feelings. You're going to stay present, not by being rigid, but by being radically open. This is the equanimity muscle. Okay, good. So in this meditation, we use our imaginations. Think about someone you like, a family member, a kid, even an animal. Maybe you can even see them in your mind's eye, or maybe they're more an idea. Both are fine. A bunch of people may come to mind. Choose one for now. Once you've got a person, see if you can connect to a simple desire to want the best for them. Not to fix them, not to get sloshed on sentimental love vibes, although if that happens, let the good times roll. More a sense of, yeah, I want this person to be happy. What could be more reasonable? As you think of them, repeat a silent phrase to yourself. The words you use are up to you. Here are some you can use as a guideline. May you be happy. May you be strong. May you feel like you belong. As you think of your person, imagine them laughing, happy. Think about how they laugh. Maybe it's more a bark or a high-pitched wheezing. Feel like you can smile and notice how it feels to imagine them this way. Repeat your phrases. May you be happy. May you be strong. May you feel like you belong. So you're practicing holding a caring attitude here. Every time you repeat your phrase and connect to this desire to want the best for this person, you're deepening the habit, strengthening your caring muscle. Nice. Now think of someone you don't know well. Maybe it's someone at work, or the person who cuts your hair, or runs the local corner store. It doesn't really matter who. In fact, it's kind of hilarious to make it totally random. As you do, think of this person happy, content, at peace. And again, you can use your silent phrases, choosing words that fit your style. The ones I'll suggest are, may you be happy. May you be strong. May you feel like you belong. And as you do this, notice what this meditation is like. Is it easy or hard? Does it make you feel warm or annoyed? Or maybe you feel nothing at all? All are fine. We're not trying to build a particular feeling. Rather, we're building a habit of caring about people in a way that's true to us. Keep going. Okay, let's make it a bit more challenging. Think of somebody you find difficult. Not the biggest idiot on the planet, more someone you have to interact with at work or in the family. Try to send even this person some understanding. May you be happy. May you be strong. May you feel like you belong. Can you say it and actually mean it? We're all products of circumstances and conditioning beyond our control. Try to rise up and wish even this person well. We work with ourselves next. Picture yourself still as a statue. See if you can connect to an attitude of wanting the best for you with all your life history, your struggles and triumphs. May I be happy. May I be strong. May I feel like I belong. Let that sink in. We can be our own toughest critics, but there are no friendliness double standards here. We train in meditation to spread the habit of caring out to everyone, ourselves included. May I be happy. May I be strong. May I feel like I belong. Okay, we're on the home stretch, just 1 minute left. The grand finale is sending out your well wishes to the entire planet. All these humans and animals and space aliens hiding out in the desert. Everyone wanting to lead lives of belonging and connection. May you be happy. May you be strong. May you feel like you belong. May all of us be this way. Meditation is training how we feel. The more often we do a practice, the deeper it goes, and then the easier it is to repeat. After a while, cultivating more friendliness can make us happier and more connected. People respond to us differently. We realize the habit of caring about others is one of the best ways to care about ourselves. Giving is actually a kind of getting, and that's a habit you want to repeat. So feel free to open your eyes or keep meditating. Either way, I'll see you here tomorrow for day 6.
All right, everybody. Thanks for that. And there's a quote here that says, "You are what you repetitively do." So I kind of like that. All right, so happy Tuesday. We're looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. So hopefully you've got that remind text from Tim. And we went over that yesterday for our mid-quarter conferences. So we're excited to see everybody tomorrow. I'll show that briefly right now, just so that everybody knows what time they're coming tomorrow. Let me share my screen. All right, let's see. All right, so let's see if I can make this big. I can't make it big. This is as big as this. Oh, I know. Here we go. All right, so here's the schedule for tomorrow. So I'll just briefly go through this. I'll just scroll down through it. So hopefully everybody knows their time and you can be at the college by then. It's just a 15-minute appointment. Make sure you bring your journal rights with you. That's when I'm going to check those off. So if you're doing them in a Chromebook or a computer, bring that so we can scroll through those. Remember, I don't read your journal rights. I just scroll through them and give you the 2 points. And we've had 3 journal rights so far. So if you've missed those, remember we do those on Mondays. So if you've missed those, just go up into ThinkWave and pull up the journal right. So that's just journal right 1. Where's that? There we go, journal right 1. You can click on it and you'll see what the quote is, or this one was a little story. Go to journal right 2, go to journal right 3, make sure you write for 5 minutes on reflecting about that, and you'll be good on that. Oops. Okay, and then I'm all over the place here. Let's see. You'll also need to bring with you your anything you haven't turned in. So, you know, for my class, we're supposed to be turning in our Big Rock calendars every Monday for the previous week. So like yesterday was Monday. So you should have shared with me your Big Rock 2. We created our Big Rock 3 for this week of May the 3rd, the week of May the 3rd, but then you should have shared with me your Big Rock calendar from week 2. I'll also have paper copies available tomorrow. So if you're somebody who it's too complicated or whatever to fill out the Big Rock calendar on the computer, I'll have paper copies of it. So some people just like to fill that out and then take a picture of it and send it to me each week. So make sure you've got a plan for that. And then also there's a bunch of people who, I don't have your student worker fact sheet yet. So let's make sure we get that done. Because you know, this is a new week and we're working on our resume and our references this week. So I'm going to continue talking about the resume here soon. The other assignment, the assignment from last week that was due was to fill out a job application. And that's on ThinkWave. It's under job application quiz. So I just wanted you to go and pull up one of those job applications that's on there. And that's right here under April 29th. That was the day it was due. That was last Thursday. So there's 2 different job applications you can link to here. I know they're not super easy to fill out online. If you'd like a paper version instead, I can give you one when we're in class tomorrow. So when we're there for our meetings, I'll have paper copies of a job application and then the paper copies of filling out the 3 references. So you can choose to make that up tomorrow if you want, but make sure you have your student worker fact sheet with you all completed so you have all your information that you'll use to fill out a job application. So any questions on any of those assignments? Here comes
I just have a quick question with like the timing.
Yeah.
So each like meeting is 15 minutes, right?
15 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Would you prefer us to like do the assignments on Thursday then or Wednesday?
I would like you to try to get caught up. So if you're missing anything, I'd like you to try to get caught up, you know, today, so you could bring missing assignments with you on Wednesday. I'll have all these paper copies that I'm talking about of things like the Big Rock calendars and the job applications. I'll have stacks there that I'll just have in our CareerLink lobby in the waiting room. So in that waiting room, anybody can hang out. There's computers in there. If you know you're someone where it's like, I got to get out of the house, I got to get into a quiet workspace to actually do homework and to catch up, you can stay there all day Wednesday and catch up. Thursday will also be there, especially for people that we meet with and they're like super behind and they need like a good quiet space to work. So yeah, it's totally optional for you to work, you know, to stay at school and work Wednesday or Thursday, depending on where you're at with assignments.
All right, I was just double checking with the time. Thank you.
Yeah. It's just a 15-minute appointment that you'll have on Wednesday, but you can hang out and catch up. And a lot of people will probably need to do that. Okay. Any other questions on any of these assignments?
When we come in on Wednesday, can we show you our assignments on our phone or does it have to be on our computer?
Either way, you can use whatever you'd like to use.
Okay.
Yep. So that's good. You can also share things like, you know, the student worker fact sheet that was due like 2 Thursdays ago. So, you know, just hurry and share that with me. Same thing with if you want to do the job application, the online one, you can do that. And then this week, yeah, it's just doing our references and our resumes. So let me just touch base for people that weren't here yesterday on the references. There's a whole bunch of information that explains why we want references, who would be a good reference, and then there's examples of how I want you to do your references. So here's somebody's, this was a former student of mine, Cassandra. You'll just see that you've got your personal heading on top with your information, your name, address, phone number, email, and then you list 3 references. You tell us who these references are, how to get a hold of them. So that's basically it for how to do your references. And then you should have those anyway. You brainstormed those and you got all those on your student worker fact sheet. So you should just be able to copy and paste those, basically create your format. And yeah, this is like a complete reference information. So if you were using me or Tim, you know, Wendy Wineland, instructor is my title, company or organization, South Seattle College, and then our address. That's on our syllabus, or you can look it up, and then our telephone number and my email. So you'll do this for 3 people. And that is the reference assignment that's due this Thursday. And then let's get into the resume, because the resume is just a little more complex than your references. So I've got a couple different resumes to show you here. We're going to go over this Susie student teen resume to see a traditional resume that's done. We call this reverse chronological order, which means she's starting with her current job that she has, and then you work backwards to your first job. People are always most interested in what you're doing now to get a good read on, well, how's this person doing right now in life? How are they doing with professionalism and stability and friendliness and teamwork and all that? So we'll look at Susie student, and then we're going to look at this Gabe. It says Gabe doc, and then there's a second one here of Gabe that I put in a Google Doc. So that's a functional resume that I'm going to show you. So a functional resume is a really good style to use when you don't have a ton of work experience, and instead you want to showcase your skills and abilities that you have from different experiences. So I'm going to show you how you can kind of do that. And we're going to play that off of your student worker fact sheet. You're going to kind of see why I had you brainstorm what are all these things you can do, your skills, and then your characteristics. So let's start off with looking at the Susie student resume. All right, so Susie student, let's make this a little bit bigger. So you're going to notice the first thing that we always do when we look at a resume, same thing, a first thing that an employer would do when they look at a resume, is they create it, that you kind of create, what's your first impression of this piece of paper, okay? And that helps us create an impression of how we think about this person. So we want to create an impression that's like, oh, this looks organized. This looks attractive. This format is easy on the eyes. There's lines, there's bullets, there's things that draw our attention. There's organization, like each one of their sections. So objective, summary of qualifications, education, honors and distinctions, work history, community service, and skills. Those are all done the same way. They're all done in caps with the same font. They're all on the same margin line. They're using bullets then to start every other line in there. And you notice they're using some other types of font, like italicized on several of the words. But the whole thing about this is it's consistent, right? So it's a consistent style. You know, they didn't just use a line here after objective, they used a line to separate each one of these sections. So just think about that when you're doing your format, whether you want to use a format from like a template from Google Docs, and I'll show you how to find those, or maybe you have access to Microsoft Word and you want to use one of their templates, like in the YouTube video we watched yesterday. So whatever way, find a template that you like, that you feel like reflects your personality and the type of job you're going for. And I'm going to show you some like really fancy formats too, from a Pinterest board that I have, for people that are in like creative fields, like graphic designers, web designers, people like those. So you can kind of see like, oh, wow, these are people that really have that skill set and they're showcasing their skill set in their brand. And this is kind of like you're branding yourself, right? This person can't necessarily see you. They're scanning through, say, 100 resumes for, they want to interview 5 people maybe. So the whole point is create a good impression. Don't have misspellings, don't have typos, don't have things that look off. Make it so that somebody wants to read it. And how you can do that is just by how you format things. So we haven't even got into what Susie Student has on this resume. We've just got into, she created a good first impression just from this 1-page resume that looks easy on the eye, right? So that's what we're trying to do, is get read. We're trying to get in the yes pile. Yes, I want to read this resume, and not the no pile. So the first thing that you see, so some of these categories can be optional, or they can be ones we choose to use, but I'm going to hit the main sections that are required right now. So everybody can be writing this down and starting their resume if you'd like. So the first section on a resume, almost all the time, is your contact information. So I want you to find one that you like. You know, some people will center it. Some people will make their names really big, maybe capitalized. This resume is about you. So I would suggest make your name big, make your name stand out. That's pretty important. And then, yeah, just how to get contacted. So she's got her address for her first line, her phone number, and email. You could also do different things, like if you want to put if you have a LinkedIn account or Instagram or something that's appropriate, you could use that. Maybe you have a website where you showcase, maybe you work on cars, maybe you paint cars, or you do build websites, or you do music, or you do whatever. You could always have a website on there and you have samples of your work attached. So that would be really cool too. I would just kind of take this to the next level. All right. So once you've done your personal heading, and I want you to make that something that you like, because we're then going to copy and paste. This will be like our personal stationery. We're going to use it for the top of our reference sheet. So when you create your references, I want you to just copy and paste whatever header you made here, personal header, to the top of that page. This will also become our header for our cover letter that we do next week, and our thank you letter. So it's, you're kind of stuck with it. So make something that you like. Okay, our second section is the objective. This is telling the employer what job you want and why you would be a good fit for their job. So this person says, Susie Student says, seeking part-time retail sales clerk position, cashier position. So she tells the employer what she wants. So there's 2 ways to do this. So she did it where she just has a real short and sweet objective. I want a part-time retail sales clerk cashier position. And that's pretty common for like younger workers, students, people who are looking for part-time jobs. That's a really basic, common objective. And then she listed like why she would be good at that. These are kind of like her I can and I am. So these are her summary of qualifications that shows she would meet that objective. So she's saying, I'm customer focused, self-starter, proven client service skills. I'm an energetic achiever and communicator with strong listening skills. I'm a quick learner, eager to learn and follow directions. I'm an excellent team player who thrives in teamwork situations. And I'm responsible and reliable with a record of professionalism. So Susie Student could have chose to do this a different way. She could have, and so can you. You could, in your objective, include your top 3 skills or qualifications. So she could have picked 3. She could have said, seeking a part-time retail sales clerk cashier position, which would utilize and then she could pick 3 of these. So she could say, which would utilize my customer service, my communication, and my teamwork abilities. So that's up to you how you want to do that. But the objective is really the first thing the employer reads, and you really want to make a strong connection, like this is a job I want, and this is why I would be good at it. So we need to hit that right away, okay? So that can be done with the objective and a summary of qualification section, or an objective that shows our qualifications, all right? Then you could go down to education, or here's where you have a choice. I would hit them with the thing that's the strongest next. So if you feel like your work history is strongest next to show that you would be really good for that objective, then list your work history next. If you feel like you don't have very much work history that relates to that objective, then maybe hit them with your education next. Or maybe you have honors and distinctions. This is the honors and distinctions category is totally optional. So you don't need to put that in. You know, if you have honors and distinctions, great, put them in. If you don't worry about that. We do want to fill a page with our resume. So I'm going to tell you how to swap that category out with something else that the employers still would learn more about you. Okay, so let's go back to this education section. So for education, I want you guys to list high school diploma, just like she did, because you are all working on your high school diploma. And then put, after that, put South Seattle College and the city and state. So Seattle, comma, WA. And then put when you are expected to graduate. So maybe that's, wow, this is an old resume, 2007. I need to get some new examples. Maybe you want to put expected, maybe you're graduating this June. So June 2021. Maybe you're going to graduate next fall. So fall 2021, or winter quarter would be winter, that would be 2022. So put when you think you're going to graduate. I know not all of you know that yet because we haven't evaluated your transcripts and gone over with you exactly how many classes you have left, but that's coming up. So try to estimate about when you're going to graduate. You don't need to list all your schools here. I would list the school you're currently in. Remember, we're going to start with where we're at. We're doing reverse chronological order, and then we're going to list things back in time after that. Most of you have been to another high school for quite a while. Maybe you were at Evergreen High School from 2019 through 2021 before you came to CareerLink. So I think that would be important to list, is like a high school that you've been at for a long time, especially if you have certain things that you've done there that could show skills and abilities. Maybe you are applying right now for a position as a prep cook, and you've done at the Seattle Skills Center, you did their culinary arts program, or through West Seattle High. So you would for sure want to list that. It's all about showcasing skills and abilities that you have on this one page that makes them interested in, like, hey, I have the skills to do this objective. All right. So that should be good for education. For work history, so if you have work history, great. I know a lot of you have a lot of work history, so only pick the jobs that relate to that objective. So if you're seeking a position as a nanny, let's say, taking care of children, or at a child care center, or an after-school program, or something working with kids, and you've done babysitting before, or you've worked in a summer camp, or you've done you know, maybe you volunteered at an after-school program where you helped with soccer practice or whatever, for sure you would want to list that job, those jobs, instead of jobs like maybe you worked at Taco Bell, right? So sometimes you got to pick and choose. Now, if you haven't had, if you're trying to get that job as a nanny or a child care worker and you haven't had any experience babysitting or any related jobs, then for sure you would want to put your work experience if you worked at Taco Bell, or you worked at Target, or you worked anywhere else, because we're still going to try to pull skills out, how you're good with people, how you have professionalism, how you have good communication, how you show up on time. We're going to use the transferable skills that you learned from those jobs to still make a connection that, yes, I would be a good nanny or child care worker because I get along with people, I can show up on time, I'm a good communicator, things like that. Are you guys kind of seeing how this all works together? Hopefully. Okay. So then let's say now you've filled like a half a page. Actually, let me stick with this work experience, work history section for a minute. Okay, let's say that these jobs that you've had, are, let's see, not paid. Let's say these are, your experience is not necessarily paid work history. You could just put the word experience here. So instead of saying work history, use the word experience. And then let's say you were a library assistant or a TA in the office, or you had an internship with the city of Seattle in the parks department or whatever. Then, just that word experience works. Okay, and then how I want you to list your work experience is I want you to list what you did first, your title at your job. So here we have the word bagger. I don't like that word bagger. I would probably put courtesy clerk instead of bagger. So put courtesy clerk, then comma, the name of the supermarket that you worked at. So she worked at Publix supermarket, and then the city and state. So you notice we're not doing full addresses here. We're not doing phone numbers on here. We are just doing our title, the name of the company, the city and state it was in, and then when you worked there. And if I had the student in my class, I would have told her to use tabs to spread this out. And this is just another formatting thing. It's like using more of the page to make this easier on the eye. So after bagger, I would have hit tab. After Publix supermarket, I would have hit tab. And after that city and state, I would have hit tab. So it would come over more into this empty white space and not be so wordy altogether. So you should do that. Notice she's starting with the job that she's most recently had, and then she works backwards in time. The reason why we're not putting phone numbers on here or addresses or anything else is because a resume is valuable real estate. It's one page. It's supposed to be easy on the eye. And all that information would go on a job application, right? When you fill out the job application, they ask for the name of the company, your title, they ask for the address, they ask for the phone number, they ask for who your supervisor's name was, and then they ask for what you did there. So it would be redundant. We don't need to take up valuable real estate on a resume to put things that we've already put on the job application. So resume is really quick, hit, bulleted information that will attract someone to read it and to give you an interview. Okay, so once you've taken one line to just list those, we have how many sections? Your title, the name of the company, city, state, and then the dates you worked there. So those 4 things. Then you want to put in 3 or 4 bullets using action adverbs like prepared, assisted, secured, provided, maintain, provide, manage. We want to show action in there of what you did on this workplace. And that's why I had you guys brainstorm all this when you did your student worker fact sheet. So we have a head start on all these things. So I really want you, someone could say as a bagger or a courtesy clerk, bagged groceries, okay, and leave it at that. Well, no, you've done more if you really think about it. And we want to really showcase these things. You assisted in loading groceries to the customer's vehicles. You secured shopping carts and other key supplies. You provided customer service to an average of 60 customers per shift. Resumes and employers like numbers. They like to see if you increased sales, increased productivity, if you came up with new ideas to make systems better, if you won awards, if you got positive comment cards. So try to put in things that really get their attention by showing that you made that workplace better by what you did. All right, and then she lists her babysitting job. And this is a really good way to list things if you kind of are self-employed, maybe you have a yard business that you do, maybe you do some entrepreneurial, or I can't say that word today, entrepreneur. Yeah, maybe you're an entrepreneur. You do tennis shoes and sell them. You buy things at yard sales and resell them on eBay or OfferUp. You have a cleaning business you do, whatever that is, if it's self-employed. So put the name of what you do and then your name of your company and you might just get creative with that. And then the city and state that you live in and how long you've been doing that. And then show, again, with action adverbs like maintain, provide, manage, what you did. All right, so get creative with that. Look back at your student worker fact sheet, see what you did when you listed all your I can and I ams, and when you listed what you did at each job. One thing I want you to notice here is her use of past tense verbs up with this job as a bagger, because she did this job before. She doesn't work there anymore, right? So she does past tense in her action adverb. She says she prepared. So she doesn't do that anymore. She didn't say I prepare. It's because I used to do this. I prepared, I assisted, I secured, I provided. But this babysitting job, she's still doing that. And so she uses present tense with her adverbs. So maintain, provide, manage. All right. Then she's done some community service and she talks about what she's done there. So you could list that if you have community service. You could also, maybe you instead want to call this volunteer work. Maybe you haven't done volunteer work. Maybe you haven't done community service. Maybe you don't have honors and distinctions. It doesn't mean you can't have a good resume. So what you would list here instead, you could do your interests and hobbies. And then we want to keep these related to being professional. And again, showing that we have skills from these things, skills and interests. So let's say that you call this interests and hobbies, and you put in here that you work on automobiles with your uncle, or that you play soccer for West Seattle Soccer Club, or you write poetry. All these things would help get the employer to know what your skill sets are and what your interests are, and how they might be able to take, especially if these skills relate, right? Like that you at your church, you cook on Sundays and to provide a meal for the homeless, right? And then the job you're trying to get is you're trying to be a prep cook. So it's all about trying to remember things about us and use these things to prove, again, whatever the job is, what they need for that job, that you're a good fit. Okay, and then down at the bottom, if you feel like there's other skills you haven't mentioned yet, you would want to list those down here. So she puts customer relations, customer service skills, computer literate in both Windows and Macintosh platforms, working knowledge of Spanish and Italian. That's really good to get your languages on here. And then you should end this. So if she was in my class, I'd say, Susie, we want to end this with the term references available upon request. So we're not listing our references on here because remember, we're listing these on the separate sheet that's also due on Thursday. But our separate sheet is going to look like a package deal because it's going to have the same heading. So we're going to have our same personal heading, the word references, and then we're going to list our 3 references. All right, so that is what we call a typical reverse chronological resume. All right, so if you were the manager at, let's say Susie was trying to get this job at Target, would you give Susie an interview? I want you to put in the chat thumbs up or thumbs down, or not in the chat, but in your reactions. Would Susie get an interview based on her resume? Okay, I see 1 thumbs up. I see no thumbs down yet. Okay, check. Everybody else, let's vote. Would we give Susie Student an interview? What do you think? Does she show that she's got, yeah, some good summary of qualifications, some good work history. She's done community service. She's got some good skills. All right, cool. Now we're going to look at a different kind of resume for somebody who maybe doesn't have a lot of work experience. So let's look at this Gabe Palmer resume. And this is where he was trying to get a job at Crystal Mountain as a terrain park crew person. I'm going to try to make this bigger. All right. So again, we got a 1-page resume. This is a template that you can find in Google Docs. And this resume is done a little bit differently because this person does list the references on here. We're not going to do that, but he chose to. And this resume, you're going to notice, instead of like Susie Student, where she had work experience and she just listed all her jobs out, her job at the Publix supermarket and her job at babysitting. This is what we call a functional resume instead. And this is where we take whatever the job is that we want. So let's look at, he calls it a profile instead of an objective. He says he's seeking a terrain park crew position with Crystal Mountain to maximize the customer's experience through teamwork, my passion for skiing and snowboarding, and my interpersonal skills. So all you're doing there is you're saying, okay, I'm going to read the job description from Crystal Mountain, and I'm going to see what kind of qualifications are they looking for a terrain park crew person. I'm going to read their mission statement. I'm going to see what's important to them as a business. And then I'm going to try to appeal to them by saying, okay, what would be the 3 top skills that they want that I've got? And now I'm going to list those skills, and then I'm going to give them examples of how I use those skills. So this might be clicking for you now. You're like, oh, I see why she wanted us in our student worker fact sheet to list my top 5 skills and then give examples of them, and then to list my 5 characteristics and give examples of them. So that's just what he did here. So he's like, all right, if I was going to be a terrain park crew person at a ski resort, I would need to be outdoor oriented, right? This would not be a good job for somebody who's cold all the time or who hates to stand out in the snow or rain. So he gives examples of how he's outdoor oriented. He says he thrives in long hours in the snow and cold conditions. I can build kickers in the backcountry, shovel snow with endurance and knowledge of how to build lasting jumps with proper lifts. Utilizes safety information and knowledge of proper park etiquette. Completed a multiple backpack trip of 75 miles or longer. Okay, so he just showed, so even though this guy has no work experience, he's like, hey, I'm an outdoor oriented person. Let me tell you about that. His next section was teamwork abilities. Just about for any job, they want teamwork and they want interpersonal skills, right? They really, and these are soft skills. So these are things like what we call transferable skills. So you guys will probably have these skills from different areas of your life. So under teamwork, he says, strengthen team performance as a captain of the West Seattle Thunder soccer team, provided member or positive member of Bishop Blanchet JV baseball team, engaged with a diverse group of people through 20 hours of volunteer work per year, and then a leader in the Bishop Blanchet ski and snowboard club. So he's showing like, hey, through different things, you know, I'm on the soccer team, I play baseball, I had a leadership position in ski and snowboard that has to do with working at a mountain, right? Okay, so tying all this together, giving them a visual of like who this person is and wanting to interview him. Interpersonal skills, listens attentively, provides well thought out solutions, confidently speaks in public, handles conflicts professionally. So even though he has no real work experience, he's showing through, again, this is called a functional resume. So you've brainstormed what are my 3 sections, my 3 skills that would relate to showing I could meet this objective. And then we have our education section. So same thing as what I want you guys to do, you know, list the name of the school, high school diploma, when he's going to graduate. And then he put a skills section on here with other just skills that he has to show like, hey, I'm a person who's done cool stuff. I've done private pilot training. I've been a West Seattle soccer referee. I can use Adobe Photoshop, Mac and PC systems. I'm physically fit and know proper lifting techniques. And then he went in and listed his references and then languages. All right. Now I want to show you, I know I've been talking for a long time, but I got to cover this. I know it's super boring. Sorry, you guys. So I want to show you how you would not need to completely redo your resume for each job you apply for. So notice here, this was all for a terrain park crew at Crystal Mountain. Then he didn't get an interview for that. So he's continuing his job search, and he's like, hey, I'm going to apply at Starbucks. So you can go open up this one, and I want to show you how it was really easy once you had a good start to a resume, once you've done one, and it's really easy to just switch that around for any company if you use the same kind of concept of if somebody's phone is on, I'm going to mute you. There we go. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So Gabe Palmer, same thing, same format, all that. But you notice here, now we have a different objective or a different target. So now we want to be a barista associate at Starbucks. And so with the profile, we just changed that and said, seeking a barista associate position with Starbucks to maximize the customer's experience through now he's saying interpersonal skills, teamwork, and professionalism. So before he was talking about what? He was talking about outdoor oriented, teamwork he left in, and then he was talking about communication skills. So this time he just mixed it up a little bit. He knows, working as a barista, it would be really important to have good interpersonal skills. It would be really important to be professional. All right, so here he just listed for interpersonal skills: listen attentively, ability to build relationships, provide well thought out solutions, confidently speak in public, handles conflict professionally. You can tell he did read through Starbucks, their job description for barista. Also, he read through their mission. So he really got to see what they're looking for in employees. And so he said, seeking a barista position with Starbucks to maximize the customer's experience through my interpersonal skills, teamwork, and professionalism. So it's all about maximizing the customer's experience. That's what Starbucks is into, not really selling coffee. They're more into giving you an experience. Okay, and then up here, he just left all his skills the same, except he added in that he has a food handler's permit, right? So think about, he took some things out, like instead of building kickers or things that were related to the mountain only, he put in things that would be more related to Starbucks. He also put in, since he was applying at the Alki Starbucks, he put in that he's an Alki native, so he shows he lives nearby. He put in that he's mechanically inclined, so that could show, I could use the espresso machines and other equipment. And then, he's got his references on here, and then language. So I want you guys to think about these that I just showed you, and I want you to also think, wow, what if I combined, maybe I have some work experience that I want to list, and maybe I also want to take parts from this functional resume to do my resume. So you can combine those, and that would be called a combined functional and reverse chrono resume. So there's no one way to do this. There's lots of ways, but the main goal is, again, for you to show whatever that employer wants, whatever they're hiring for, that you have thought about it, you understand the skills they want, you've read the job description completely, you've read the company's mission statement, you're talking their language, you get what they're about, and you're just tying yourself in. You're being like, hey, this is me in this way, this is me in this way, I have this interest, I have this past experience, I have whatever, I have these skills. So that's how you get noticed and how you get an interview. Okay, any questions about this before I show you some really catchy ones on Pinterest to really blow your mind? Any questions? All right, so I'm on Pinterest. If you want to find this board later, it's called Career Development. So you would just put in, to find me on Pinterest, it's Wineland Design. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. Get back to this chat. I'll do that in a minute. Okay, So anyway, I have a board called Career Development, and I've got a bunch of, here, so it's under Wineland Design, so it's my last name and then design, and then you would just put in Career Development to find this board, Career Development. All right, and then I have all kinds of things on here that have to do with this class. So you could check out things like I have lots of different job interview pieces. I've got lots of stuff about why your applications are getting ignored. And then I have lots of examples of really catchy, easy on the eye resumes. So let me show you a couple of these. So here's Amy Thompson's. This is just to give you ideas of how you want your resume to look. Okay, so it's the same type of things that we've just been looking at. There's always common areas on resumes. So you'll see with Amy Thompson, here's her personal heading, Amy Thompson. Here's where she listed her contact information. Here's her professional profile. That would be the same thing as an objective. Here's her work experience. And then she lists over on the side her skills and her education on the skills, or on the education on the side. So that's one way to do it.
Hey, Miss Wendy, I'm about to sign out of class and log back in because I'm leaving my house.
Okay.
I don't have Wi-Fi on my laptop when I leave.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know. We just got 5 minutes left. It's going to be showing you some, oh, let me show you this one. This is a resume cheat sheet. This might be helpful to you as you're building this resume in the next couple days. Here's phrases to use. So let's say you're going to do a functional resume like you just saw on that Gabe Palmer one. So you might be like, oh, I can't think of like examples of my communication skills. I can't think of examples of my organization skills. So use this cheat sheet. Here's phrases to use for communication. You could use some of these things. Organizational skills, you could use some of these words. Management skills or interpersonal skills. Research and planning. So and then when I was talking about the action adverbs to use to talk about what you did in your past work experience, use some of these action words: establishes, examines, negotiates, oversees, prepares, coaches, designs, directs. Here's words to, oh, that's so funny. They're like, here's words to avoid. And I just told you to put references available upon request. And they're saying not to use that and not to use objectives or the word loves. Okay, well, whatever. Fonts to use. Here's some different fonts. Okay. They don't know everything. Okay, and let's look at a couple more. I got you for a couple more minutes. So I want to show you a couple more resumes. Okay, this is what your resume should look like in 2017. So here's Amelia Phillips. This is pretty snazzy. You know, I'm not trying to like make anybody be like, oh, my resume is going to suck because it's not going to look like this. I mean, I do not have the word processing skills to do this. I don't know if you do. A lot of these are like templates you can find. Some of them are templates you have to pay for. So it's just fine to use the templates that are in Google Docs or in Microsoft Word. But you still, I think, can learn like how this person is just like creating an impression with this resume, how formatting can really work for you, right? So I'm just trying to kind of inspire you a little bit by showing you these. I don't expect yours to look like this, but you might take one or two things you learned from these. Okay, here's what I want to show you because I want you to think about, do we like pictures on resumes? Do we not like pictures on resumes? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down for how you feel about adding your picture to a resume like this Tammy did. What do we think about putting a picture on a resume? Thumbs up for we like it, or thumbs down, we don't like it. Tell me what you think. Do you want to put your picture on your resume? Y'all alive? Is everybody with me? Is everybody playing video games and sleeping? I don't know. Okay. Well, thank you for the people who did respond to that. So I would say, you know, if you're going to do a Oh, this just took me to her Facebook. If you do want to do a resume with a picture, keep it a really professional picture. And this gal, she is in branding and graphic design. So you'll notice, you know, she better make a really snazzy, easy on the eye resume if she's in this field, because she's showcasing what she can do here, right? So, but again, she's got the same sections that everybody else has. Here's her work experience, her education, her contact information. Right, I'm going to stop sharing. So those were on my Pinterest board if you want to look at them. Any questions before we sign out? It's 1 o'clock. Anybody? I know I talked for a long time, sorry.
So are we turning these in? When are these due?
So
The
these are due
references and
Thursday.
resume?
So this is your assignment for this week, is the resume and your references. These are due Thursday night at 12 o'clock, and you'll just share these with me. And I don't want anybody to be like, oh, I don't know, my resume doesn't look like this, and not share it with me. I want you to share it with me, because I'm really good at helping you like adjust things and be like, hey, how about we put this here? How about you move this over here? How about we say this instead, right? So I just want you to get me something on time, and then we're going to edit these and like make them better. And then Chris, did you have a question?
That was my question.
Okay, when it's due Thursday. Yeah, I try to keep all my assignments due on Thursday, except, you know, the Big Rock calendars that we do on Mondays. Yeah, so resumes and references due this week. So get going on these. Just start, you know, maybe start by looking at some of the templates on Google Docs, or some of the templates in Word, or some of those, you know, Google High School, or maybe you really like the format that Susie Student did and you want to make that, right? It's all about you and your personal preference and what you think will be appealing for your industry. Any other questions? Everybody got it? Okay, well, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow at the college.
Have a good day.
Okay, you too.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
See you guys tomorrow. Any questions?